Hey guys, it's 7 Ninja 7, and today we're going to be looking at Chimelong Spaceship Review, $1.1 billion indoor theme park by Coaster Studios.
World's largest indoor theme park, a 2,000-foot-long spaceship packed full of rides, animal exhibits, live entertainment, animatronics, and some of the best theming you have ever seen. At a cost of a whopping $1.1 billion, Chimelong Spaceship broke 7 Guinness World Records upon opening, including world's largest indoor theme park, world's largest aquarium tank, world's largest living coral reef exhibit, the world's largest indoor artificial wave, the world's largest capacity motion simulator, and the world's largest curved projection screen. Impressive on paper and even more impressive in real life. At 3.9 million square feet, Chimelong Spaceship beat out the previous record holder for world's largest theme park, Warner Brothers World Abu Dhabi, by over 1 million square feet. And that park is pretty freaking big. I had the opportunity to visit Spaceship shortly after it opened, and I knew very little going in. But let me tell you, I was blown away by the level of detail. Immersion like I had never seen before. And in this video, I'll be covering the park in detail, telling you everything you need to know, walking through the must-do attractions in themed areas, so you have an idea what to expect should you choose to go. Now, to get to
Certainly looks huge. Hmm. I wonder if the entrance is like, I guess the entrance isn't really much. It's just, I wouldn't even call it parking. It looks like parking somewhere else altogether. Is that a pool on the outside? I'm looking at
Chimelong
the bottom
Spaceship,
right.
you're first going to need to travel to Zhuhai, China, about 10 minutes past the Macau border. Macau is the most densely populated place on Earth, so opening a new park so close was sure to be a smash hit. Spaceship soft opened towards the end of 2023, and in its first full opening year, 2024, it welcomed 4.6 million guests. That put it at the number 25 spot for most visited theme parks in the entire world. And what's even more impressive is this is the second gate for an already pre-existing park at the Chimelong Resort. I'm talking about Chimelong Ocean Kingdom, which opened in 2014 as the second Chimelong park after their first initial park in Guangzhou was so successful. Ocean Kingdom sits as the sixth most popular theme park in the world, and it only took them 1 year of
I'm liking the colors of the other park as well. I think it looks pretty cool. But, let's continue.
operation before they start discussing how could they expand their capacity. And after kicking around ideas with designers Legacy Entertainment out of Burbank, they settled on an indoor park themed around a spaceship. It's the perfect complement to Ocean Kingdom. While both feature marine animals, the environments and ride selections are completely different, so if you've experienced one, you haven't experienced the other. The region of Zhuhai is also known for its intense heat, humidity, rain, and even typhoons, so an indoor theme park was a no-brainer. It's just a short walk from Ocean Kingdom, you can easily see one park from the other, and it only adds to the resort feel. We stayed at the Hongshin Bay Hotel, which is stunning by the way, looking out over the South China Sea, and the hotel had its own
The water looks
dedicated
pretty good.
walking path to the entrance of Spaceship. Believe it or not, however, that is not the closest hotel to the park, as they literally have their own space-themed hotel attached to the back. It is
I guarantee you that costs a lot. I wouldn't even question it. Wouldn't even question it even a little bit. I guarantee you that costs a lot more than it should. Wouldn't even question it.
massive. The initial view you get upon first walking up to the park is wildly impressive. They have themed this thing the entire way around. It looks like it could start up its engines and fly away at any moment. Straight out of a sci-fi film, especially at night. The color changing lights are incredible. It doesn't even look real. You'd think it was AI or something. The only major downside is that you can really only see the ship from the front entrance, or from the top of one of the rides at Ocean Kingdom, or from your hotel, which not everyone can access. This
Okay.
iconic view is not a normal vantage point. That's a drone. And it's kind of unfortunate because that's easily the most spectacular view of the property. But this front entrance plaza is beautiful. I love all the palm trees all around.
They certainly put a lot of it into the theme. It's like you put in a lot of work, but like if you can't see the whole thing from the ground level to some degree or somewhere, like that's kind of lame. but it is what it is.
A nice fountain in the center with the cute central characters
It's certainly iconic. That part's always gonna be true. It's certainly iconic.
from the park. And then, of course, you have the main turnstiles. You scan your ticket outside so that once you enter the ship, you're in, you're good to go. A 1-day admission to Chimelong Spaceship will run you about 45 US dollars. We got all of our theme park tickets in China on trip.com, which is absolutely the best app to use for all of your attractions, trains, and hotels in the country. These Chinese parks don't have normal websites like what we Westerners are used to, so that's the best place to get all of your information. It's also worth noting that they also sell combo tickets that you can get 1 day at Spaceship and 1 day at Ocean Kingdom. It's about 100 US dollars. Well worth the price, in my opinion. Now, upon first entering the spaceship, we were immediately
It certainly looks like it would be fun. Especially I want to go to Ocean Kingdom because it looks like it's gonna be a lot of It's got roller coasters, but it's got a lot of it looks like it's got water park things as well. So I'm certainly gonna be more interested in that one, really, just because I like the water park idea.
greeted by some of the park's walk around characters, including some intergalactic soldiers brandishing weapons, which were a little intimidating to us and most definitely intimidating to children. But they gave us a nice wave and kept on standing in a line, not moving like good stormtroopers do. A bizarre first impression, especially when you contrast it with the fact that the overall vibe of the front entrance plaza is very kid friendly. I knew going in that Chimlong Spaceship was meant to be a family park and that
The crazy thing is those soldiers guys might be holding real guns that just look customized. It's China, so I'm not entirely surprised that that's true. At the same time, I'd like to believe that they wouldn't have done that with the kids area.
some of the areas would definitely be geared more towards a younger audience, but I was surprised to see that the front entryway had things like temporary tattoo stations and characters that are meant to appeal to like toddlers. It actually had me a little worried that the entire park was going to be like that, which ended up not being the case. As you make your way down this main hallway, it really did feel like something you'd find aboard a spaceship, very Tron-like. And this leads you to the first ride in the park called Spaceship Story. And for the purpose of experiencing this park, I recommend you do this ride right when you walk in. As the name suggests, it's meant to help introduce you to the park and set up what you're about to experience. Chimelong Spaceship is unlike any other park I've ever experienced, and that is designed to be seen in a linear way. One area leads
I do think that's kind of cool. Having like a story, because like then you might actually you can kind of follow that story and see how it lines up with the rest of the like the theme. Like how well does the theme sell it, as well as is there an interstory or inner story to the overall spaceship itself? Do you see that kind of thing? That's something I'd actually like to know.
directly to the other, and it helps build upon what you've already seen. So this first ride sets up the universe where the ship came from. It has a very similar feel to Star Tours. You even have to pull on the yellow tab to check your seatbelt. The beginning has you leaving your docking bay in a smaller ship. You fly up and out of the larger spaceship. You see the whole park in front of you, fly over Ocean Kingdom, and then through a wormhole into outer space. You battle some bad guys and eventually return to Earth, back in the same docking bay you saw earlier. And what happens next? As you step out of your ship, you're now immersed in that exact same space you just saw. Surrounding you in a semicircle are identical simulators out in the open meant to look like ships. And they surround an incredible set piece that is an actual ship with rotating engines, closing hatches and flaps, aliens in the cockpit, and a whole flight takeoff sequence with an overhead dome simulating outer space. Oh, and there's also a giant robot walk around character that you can get.
They certainly are selling it. I mean, they're doing a great job selling it so far. Um, I'd certainly love to see this for myself with all that they've done so far. Like they're doing a great job selling it. I'm wondering like what exactly is it going to be? A lot of videos throughout videos or like yeah, video screens throughout the ship, or is it going to be one of those situations where you just like you get a main story and then like you go out into the ship to do whatever at that point?
Photos with. It's insane. And probably the only time I've seen a motion simulator like this out in the open. It's an incredible reveal that you don't see until after you get off the ride. But that being said, if you don't want to do the ride, there is a way to go around it, but it really is an unbelievable first impression. The area that you're seeing here is called Cosmic World, and that'll lead you into your first animal habitat zone known as Asia Galaxy. Because of noise and vibrations from the rides, the animal zones are largely kept separate from the ride areas. So for the next little bit, we're going to be seeing a lot more animals and get back to the rides later. This first area focuses largely on freshwater Asian animals like seals. And they're beautiful exhibits, really nice. But it was what was next to the animals that caught my attention. Chimelong Spaceship is inundated with animatronics. Everywhere you look, there is something moving. Small, adorable woodland creatures in these habitats, they're smiling at you from across the pathway. You can get up right next to them, and it is incredible. At most theme parks, you have to do a ride or attraction to see an animatronic. Chimelong is one of the only places I've ever been to that is not like that. At their parks, they're just out in the open. Ocean Kingdom is like that too. It's something that they didn't need.
I do think that's kind of cool. It kind of the fact things are always moving kind of keeps you looking around constantly and seeing the overall theme as a whole. Potentially, they say something or do something, you're going to pay attention to it, and I think that that adds to the immersion overall. So I think that's cool.
Need to do, but it gives the park so much energy. Most of the animatronics have simple movement, but there's so many of them, it doesn't even matter. In some cases, they even paired an animatronic with a physical set and a screen background to enhance the space. That's the kind of integration that we've really only been seeing at places like Disney and Universal. It is easy to see where the budget in this park went to. Now, Asian Galaxy segues into the rainforest realm. Here we saw our first mammals. There were monkeys just hanging out above the pathway on some vines. These are
That's cool. I like that. I think that a lot. But that's really cool. I guess they're so used to humans though, they're probably not going to cause any problem. I would be worried a little bit about them like throwing poop or just dropping poop in general, but I imagine they've been trained not to do that.
animals that are not in cages. There is absolutely nothing stopping them from just dropping down onto the floor, running into another room. But they don't do that because they've created such a nice space for them that they have no incentive to leave. And the same goes for these birds next door. These parrots were born in this habitat, they are raised here, and they see it as their home. And I really can't think of any other park that was like that. And that's what made exploring Chimelong Spaceship so fun. You have no idea what is around the next corner because you can't see the next room until you get there. In a way, it's sensory overload, but that's just China for you. They give it their all, 110%, and it kept us engaged in this park from start to finish. Rainforest then transitions into Canyon Galaxy, another darker, more atmospheric space with some beautiful night lighting. And if you're following along with this map, as you can see, we're still on the first floor of the park. We're hugging the right-hand side of the spaceship. From these areas, you can head over to the left-hand side, but for the sake of explaining this park, I'm just going to do a loop around, and then we'll head up to the second floor and do the same thing there.
Okay.
Canyon Galaxy then leads us to Star Stadium, and this is where things start to get a little quirky. We have now returned to the general space theme, and you're seeing more of the characters that inhabit the
It looks like an arcade themed area. At least I see some arcade games and stuff like that.
ship. Some of them are very out there, including these little green guys that remind me a lot of Minions. I don't know how to explain it, they just give the same energy. No rides here, but there is a show, and so of course we went to go check it out. And let me tell you, this is one of the coolest theme park shows I have ever seen in my life. Incredibly creative. It is human puppetry. Mind-blowing movement. These performers are so talented, forming animals in vehicles and
I'd love to see that. That looks really fun. Just the idea that they're there because I've seen something like this before, but to see I'd like to see a pro at it. Like that looks really cool.
creating scenes with nothing but their bodies, like something you'd see on America's Got Talent. I can't believe no other theme park has ever done this before, and if anyone from an entertainment department at their local park is watching this, this is your chance to go find people to put this in your park. And it absolutely set the scene for the level of quality of the live entertainment we'd be seeing at Spaceship. Our next land is Fairyland of Coral, which brings us back into the marine life setting, once again introducing some beautiful kinetic movement, this time with sea animals literally swimming across the ceiling. This conveyor belt is continuously moving that when you pair that with all this beautiful rockwork and plant life all around you, it makes you feel like you're on the bottom of the ocean. And this is where we get the world's largest living coral reef exhibit. This huge reef spreads all the way around, and there are so many fish. Without a doubt, the best exhibit of this kind that I've ever seen. And if you're able to continue down the pathway, it just keeps going with now it feels like you're in a shipwreck, seeing this view from different angles. It's
Oh, this is a wallpaper moment. I mean, if the CS wasn't down there, this would be a wallpaper moment. Remove that with Photoshop. But like, I mean, overall, it looks pretty good. I'm enjoying myself. I'm at peace. I think this is great.
really cool. This zone is also home to another show, this one very kid-friendly, but trust me, it's worth seeing. These smiley Teletubby characters come out and we're like, okay, what's this about? And see all these little animatronic coral creatures in the background, and then suddenly, a coral monster rises up out of the ground and starts talking to you, and he is huge. One of the biggest animatronics I have ever seen. Coral Monster is part animatronic, part puppet, and stands almost
Man, he looks like that turtle thing from Paladins, the game, the from Hi-Rez Studios. He looks like that turtle tank thing. Forgot his name. He looks exactly like him, with like a skin or something.
30 feet tall. The point of the show is to teach everyone about coral reefs and how to keep it safe and doing things like recycling. And because it's mainly geared towards kids, they of course end with a musical dance number. We are not necessarily the target audience for the show, but we are just blown away by we're like, okay, what's this
Okay.
about? And see all these little animatronic coral creatures in the background, and then suddenly a coral monster rises up out of the ground and starts talking to you, and he is huge. One of
Oh, he
the
went back.
biggest animatronics I have ever seen. Coral Monster is part animatronic, part puppet, and how to keep it safe. Dance number. We are not necessarily the target audience for the show. Fairyland of Coral is in the back right
Yeah, I had
of
to
the
figure out what
park,
the heck
and
just
there's
happened.
actually a pathway that if you were to step out into it, it would lead you into the Spaceship Food Plaza. This is still technically indoors as you're covered, but it's not air conditioned and it can lead to the outside. There is a small flat right here, but the big draw is that there's just a bunch of different food locations. We actually got to eat in one of these places, had some nice
Oh, that
fried
looks
rice and
good.
chicken. It was good, but there is a catch with this zone, and that is that technically you can eat in this food plaza if you don't have a theme park ticket. It is available to hotel guests because you're technically like right below that big hotel in the back of the park.
Oh.
So it gets a little confusing where it's like, wait, are we in the park? Are we not in the park? There's like a certain way you have to go and then scan back in. A little confusing to a first time visitor. So just be aware. As we re-enter, now working our way down towards the front on the left-hand side of the park, we next have Song of the Ocean. This area reminded me a lot of Bikini Bottom, like all of the fish having
I can
fun
see it.
faces and different personalities. They gave them like cartoony homes where they have all different jobs. And
good
that's where
word.
we have our first traditional dark ride of the park. This is called Deep Sea Adventure.
Is
It
that
is a
Franklin?
shooting dark ride with all practical sets. Lots to look at, very kinetic. The only time you see screens is to enhance the physical sets, and plenty to shoot at to rack up your score. It's a very busy ride visually. I wouldn't put it on a Disney or Universal level quality, but it is better than what I've seen at a lot of other regional theme parks. Song of the Ocean then leads you into Shark Adventure, which is another just pure animal exhibit. Really ominous lighting here. Probably only makes the sharks look even scarier, but all
Yeah,
part of the fun.
I could
This
see it.
is one of the smaller theme zones and one that personally I spent some of the least amount of time in. Next up is an area called Dragon Sky,
I've been thinking about this for a while, but I always wonder like how's the aquariums keeping the sharks from eating the other fish? I just feel like that's something they would do. So I wonder that.
which is a little bit more mythical, kind of classic Chinese lore. The main attraction here is a slow omni mover that utilizes AR technology. In this scenario, you put on a set of glasses and then kind of swat at things out in front of you as it moves you through real space. So you still see all the same scenery, but now with little characters that you can get points or lose points by
A gacha
whacking.
game?
I personally just want to sit back and enjoy the views. It takes you out over this very Smithsonian museum-like space where you see all these different sea creatures, full recreations of whales, even different skeletons. And from my understanding, they're all to scale. This space was really cool to walk through, and you can see how a lot of this park is very educational, helping you learn and further appreciate what is out there. And it's moments like this when Chimelong Spaceship didn't feel like a theme park at all. At least, not a normal one. But then again, no one ever said this is a normal park. And one of the best examples of that can be found in the area next door, which is critical to understanding the story of the
Hmm.
ship.
Oh, we're
If
back
as
to
you've
that.
been walking around this park, you're wondering, why are we seeing animal exhibits on board a spaceship? This room will help you understand. It's called Journey with Cube. Here you can see some of the characters putting animal habitats in these cubes, shrinking them down to a small size, and storing them on board the ship. You follow yet? Let me clarify. The spaceship you are on is like the USS Enterprise. The aliens have landed here on Earth to study these animals. They're shrinking down the different environments into these cubes for transportation purposes to bring back to their home
Hmm.
for education, but they accidentally expanded. And so we are seeing these full scale environments on board the ship. So now
Hmm.
you kind of have this Noah's Ark like situation where you have all these animals on board and they've opened up their ship for you to come.
The aquariums are very beautiful. I'm a big fan of that. Above everything else, I really am just a big fan of the aquariums. They've showed us so far, all of them have different themes and colors, but they look really, really beautiful.
Come see what they have. It's a very creative and out there story that not every guest will understand, but you can see how much thought was put into this. A story that doesn't just encompass one singular ride or land, it's much bigger than that. Detailed enough for you to appreciate it if you happen to pick up on it, but subtle enough that if you aren't paying much attention or don't really care, it won't hinder your experience. Now, that
Hmm.
brings us to one last area before we head up to the second floor, and that is Whale Wonders. One of the non negotiables from Chimelong was that they wanted this park to be home to orcas. Prior to Spaceship, there's only one other park in China that you could see killer whales, that being Haicheng Ocean Park in Shanghai. And so, for so many of the locals here, they'd never seen orcas before. So, they saw it as a way for guests to get
This is
up
cool.
close to these magnificent animals. Now, that being said, as a society, it felt like we had all collectively learned from the past and came to a big realization that keeping killer whales in tanks is not right. And there was like an unspoken global agreement that, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. SeaWorld stopped their breeding program. They obviously still have the orcas, but it's because they can't legally release them into the wild.
Hmm.
So once they pass on, that's it. They won't have them anymore. And then we have China, which I'll say this, they are still a relatively young market when it comes to
Hmm.
theme parks. In many ways, they're still learning and figuring things out, and it seems like they didn't get the memo on this, or they just didn't care. So, yes, there are orcas here. I do not agree with it. I personally wouldn't have done that, and I applaud places like SeaWorld
It's like a bunch of I don't know.
Abu Dhabi for opening up being a marine park without orcas. In my opinion, you don't need them to have a successful aquarium or ocean theme park. Spaceship is magnificent without them, but they are here. They are here to stay. And I am glad to see that at least they gave them the largest
That's
aquarium
nice.
on the planet.
That's real
These are
nice.
huge animals. They obviously deserve the ocean, but this is a bigger tank than any other in the world, including those at the SeaWorld parks that also have orcas. And to help simulate the open waters, Chimelong developed an artificial wave that is really powerful and very impressive, something you definitely don't find at the other SeaWorld parks. In my
Hmm.
opinion, that's a really neat feature, one of those world records that I talked about earlier. Chimelong Spaceship is home to 12 orcas, 5 of which are babies. All of those
Hmm.
babies were born in captivity here in the park. There's underwater viewing where you can get right up to that massive pane of glass, as well as dine at a restaurant with a view of
Oh,
the orcas.
nice.
We were highly encouraged to
I'm
check this out, and the overall aesthetic of the
I'm always a big fan of being able to sit in front of an aquarium while I'm eating. I think that that's just it makes the overall meal like smoother, calmer. So
restaurant and the dining experience really was fantastic with a live piano player and beautiful views. The food was also quite good, though very expensive. China as a whole is a very affordable country to visit, but you
hmm
could tell that this was really meant to be a premium experience and you will pay for it as a result. And it's this tank
gotta
that
get that
also
house
will lead
that
you up into the
hotel.
second floor, and that is where you could watch the Orca show. So we'll start first with this performance and then work our way around to the attractions that are here up on the second level.
Mm.
70% of the park is on level 1, so there's not as much to do up top. But that being said, there are way more rides up here. This show, however, is one of the largest draws of the park. It is the biggest stadium I have ever seen at a marine park. That means they can do things that we haven't really seen before in the theme park space, including people literally floating over your head on giant balloons. I was like, what the heck? And then I turned to my left and see bottlenose dolphins flying through the air on drones. The way they were moving was like they're swimming through the ocean. It was unbelievable. And that was just going on while people are getting to their seats. Once the show actually starts, before you even get to the whales, performers come out on jet skis and these motorized surfboards and start doing jumps. Then pelicans fly from one side to the other. It was just a lot going on all at once. Finally, the orcas and their trainers come out. We saw trainers from all over the world. They start to tell you about the whales and put on a very similar style show to what SeaWorld does. Certainly a performance, but also education focused. And after what we thought was the big finale, surprise, there was more. A full parade of characters walk out, or sometimes ride, through the stadium. It was the show that kept on giving. Lots of enthusiasm from all the performers. They were giving it their all. Definitely more grand than what SeaWorld puts on. Now, as you're exiting Orca Stadium, one thing that you'll probably notice with this area of Chimelong Spaceship is that it actually utilizes natural lighting. Everything that you've seen up until this point is in a controlled environment. You lose your sense of time. That's okay for a couple hours, but it can get stale after a while. So what they did is have the upper part of the park maybe not as immersive, but absolutely still a captivating vibe. Even giving you the chance to look outside, see those mountain views. You can even look out at Chimelong Ocean Kingdom. It's so cool how close they are to each other. If you were to walk around, that is where we enter our main theme park zone.
I'm liking the colors. I'm liking the colors. I'm liking the fact that the kids have more stuff to do. So far, it looks like we got more attractions than the couple things we did see before, so I'm happy about that as well.
This is called Ocean Playground, and it's got a lot of classic flat rides. Many plug-and-play attractions from Zamperla, such as a disco, plenty spin-based attractions, there's a suspended monorail, swinging ship. It felt very Nickelodeon Universe-esque from Mall of America. I didn't do most of these rides because you can find them at parks from all over, but there are two very unique attractions in this zone that you can't miss. One of them is called Dive the Abyss Submarine Journey. It uses a ride system developed by Mock Rides that you can often find at the Legoland parks. You board an actual submarine, go underwater, and are looking out at all of the fish, like a real fish. It's super immersive, tons of beautiful decor in the tank, and even features a dark ride section of sorts, with glow-in-the-dark fish projections and a giant squid. The ride has no height requirement, it's the perfect attraction for all ages. The attraction next door, however, is a little different. This was, without a doubt, the highlight of Chimelong Spaceship for me, and that is Bermuda Storm. This is the world's largest motion simulator. It's built by a company called Brogent from Taiwan, and it uses these padded lean rails for maximum throughput. You can fit 300 people on this simulator at once, and so as a result, it has a timed entry, so you can't just ride it whenever. You have to treat it like a show. You'll walk through this immersive queue. You're greeted with a pre-show, a Jamaican guy that's like, "Welcome aboard my boat, come on, man." You see that enormous wraparound screen, Guinness World Record for that, and then you begin your journey through the Bermuda Triangle. Things hit the fan pretty fast. A tornado turns dark, you see this massive
I've always wondered why it's the Bermuda Triangle always so dangerous to go to. It said the people have went into it and they went through a wormhole, basically shot them out through time into another time. I've always wondered about that.
ghost ship appear. Fire erupts, it gets sucked in this giant wave, a kraken appears, breaks it apart, almost destroys you, and this whole time, the Jamaican man's monkey has been at the head of this boat, is an actual animatronic, steering you around. The monkey interacts with what's going on screen, including getting electrocuted, and at times he just drops below, so then suddenly he's missing, and as a giant wave goes by, actual water splashes up on either side. This attraction utilizes all 5 senses and is a wild ride. To my knowledge, it's currently the only ride of its kind in the world, and I would love to see more of them in the future. If you can have a compelling story like this, the potential is unreal. The teams at Brogen, Chimelong, and Legacy Entertainment should be so proud of what they came up with here. It blew
Is
me
that
away.
Godzilla?
And that was all that I experienced at Chimelong Spaceship. But would you believe that I actually still miss some stuff? There is a whole nother zone of the park that I completely bypassed called Future City. It's towards the front of the park on the upper level. If anything, it proves that there's just so much to do here. There are
Hmm.
also two shows that I completely bypassed. They have a mermaid
Nice.
show that has them swimming with manatees, and it's crazy. There's also an entire animatronic musical dining experience called the Watering Hole. 20 animatronic figures come out and introduce guests to
Constant
African
moving.
music, cultures, and creatures, and it is so cool. These are things I will have to check out next time, along with the expansion they started on after my visit. As of when this video is being made, Chimelong
Mhm.
Spaceship is currently constructing a flying theater. It's pressed up on the mountain side of the park, so most
Flying.
guests won't even be able to see it from the outside, but it'll likely
I'm sort of thinking flying, but like, I think I'm thinking about like actual flight. Um, why would I need to do that? Like, just play something around as a whole. I don't know. I don't know if I do that.
have a seamless transition inside, so you won't even be able to tell that you've left the boundaries of the spaceship. I think this is going to be a fantastic addition. Some of the best flying theaters I've ever done are in China. They're always high quality, so I have no doubt that Chimelong will do a good job. Now, our YouTube channel is called Coaster Studios, and so there might be some people who are watching this going, wait a minute, there's no roller coaster here? What's up with that? And yeah, that is true. There is not a roller coaster here. There actually were original plans for there to be one. Chimelong had purchased a mock family spinning coaster and they tried to put
Mm-mm.
it in this park, but due to vibrations, they just weren't able to figure it
Yeah,
out.
the
Hopefully,
animals.
one day they can make it work. Maybe put it up on the hillside around the flying theater area. That way, it's away from all the animals. I think if I had to choose any roller coaster type for this park, I'd go with a launch coaster. That's the easy answer because there are none at this resort. Now look at what SeaWorld Abu Dhabi did with Manta, what Haichung Ocean Park did with Steel Dolphin, an Intamin
Mm-hmm.
multi-launch, man. That'd be pretty sick. But to conclude this review, after a full day at the park from open to
I'm liking
close,
the colors
I was
again.
super satisfied with my experience. We got lucky with light crowds. I know that won't be the case for everyone, but luckily, there's a lot to do here that doesn't require standing in a line. And I feel like a place
That's
like this will
good.
distribute its crowds pretty
You start,
effectively. The place felt pretty cool.
man. You can start to feel that mess over like when I think once it starts turning dark, I start feeling like, man, I need to sit down for a second or something because like it gets like real bad. Walking all day. Holy crap. Especially if you're standing in line, it gets real bad.
Quiet to us. And then we get over to the Orca Stadium. Suddenly, there's a ton of people here. It's like, oh, I didn't even realize there were this many people in the park. There's just that much to do. I think Chimelong Spaceship is a wildly impressive park. My
Mhm.
mouth was hanging open for most of the day as I'm just walking from space to space. I loved all the innovation, the creativity, and all the different things that I'd never seen in a park before. And I think it'd be easy to say, well, don't you wish there were more like adult rides here? So many of the attractions are kid focused. But frankly, as someone in my 20s, I had a
I like having, I like when, I like when an amusement park has a lot of kid stuff because it's like kid stuff seems to get neglected, and when you go to amusement park, you kinda want kids to be there so that they can enjoy themselves. That way they can, be inspired to, grow their own wealth and actually, go places. You want them to wanna travel, to explore, and they really aren't gonna wanna do that if there's not much there for them to enjoy.
great time exploring here and can confirm that the park is plenty satisfying as is and is complimentary to Chimlong Ocean Kingdom, which does have many more thrill rides for adults. I would not say, however, that is my favorite marine life theme park I've been to. I still have to give that to SeaWorld Abu Dhabi. That's still one of my favorite parks I've ever been to, so it's a tough one to top. But I can definitely agree that the bar has been set high with Chimlong Spaceship, and I think any developer interested in creating an indoor theme park should look here for an example of what you could do to create an immersive, story driven space. So let me know down in the comments below if you've been to Chimlong Spaceship. What were your thoughts? Do you agree with the points?
So that's Chimlong Spaceship Review, $1.1 billion indoor theme park, by Coaster Studios. The link will be in the description. I enjoyed what I saw so far. I'd love to go there myself. Enjoying the colors and the TV screens. showing the story of Spaceship. I thought that was great. You know, again, check the description for the original. Consider becoming a subscriber on Coffee or Rumble. Coffee and so consider becoming a subscriber on YouTube. Consider becoming a subscriber on Coffee, and consider becoming a follower on Rumble. Regardless, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.